So let's make a formal introduction for our listeners. Good afternoon, Stephan. My name is Claudio. I'm calling you from Washington, D.C., from the studios in Fairfax City. We're very humble and grateful that Stephan Thelen accepted our invitation to our show. Stephan, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, Claudio. Well, it's nice to be here.
Same here. So let's go back to this crazy year that we're still having with the pandemic, the COVID. People believe in the vaccine. Some people don't believe in the vaccine. You know, it's crazy. You know, tourist musician like yourself, you cannot tour, and music avid like myself, are limited to the number of shows we can see. How is this? The COVID has affected your life, your creativity, inability to work, that kind of stuff.
Well, if I'm honest, I must say it did have a good effect on me in a certain way. I mean, of course, all the tragedy and stuff that wasn't good to see, but for me personally, it was actually good to be at home for a while, to have time to compose, because I realized for myself that I'm actually, I feel I'm more a composer than a performing musician. I mean, I like to perform, I like to play on stage, but I like to compose even more. So I found that being at home and having time to compose and trying new things was actually very satisfying for me. And I did a lot of things, a lot of different projects, worked on them, and sending files across the internet, and that works astoundingly well, I must say.
How many gigs were you guys doing on average a year before the pandemic?
Before,
were you guys doing a lot?
Not that much. I mean, we always had gigs, but like I don't know, about 15 a year, something like that. Yeah. So not that many, really.
Mostly in Europe, or you guys tour in the United States?
In the beginning, mostly in Europe, but then afterwards we played in the States, United States, and Japan. And,
wow.
That was little tours of Japan, for instance, for a week, for a 10-day tour in Japan was very nice. And yes.
You like it playing there in
yes.
Japan?
I enjoyed Japan very much. I felt very good there. And I liked the audience very much, and it was really fun. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, good for you, man. So, were you born like in a musical family? How were you when you began either taking, I don't know, guitar lesson or piano lesson? Or?
Well, my family wasn't really very musical, but they did support me from a very early age. I had piano lessons, I think, when I was 7. And I always played an instrument, but I never really stuck with any instrument except when I started learning guitar. I learned guitar when I was 13. And that's the instrument that I fell in love with. Before I played a little bit of piano, a little bit of violin, a little bit of trumpet actually also. But wow. Guitar is the instrument I stuck with.
I got you. Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Also a good decision. So, were you, after the equivalent of high school here in the United States, when you were finishing your secondary education, were you part of any bands at the time when you were, I don't know, 16, 17?
Yeah, we had a band when I was, I think, about 16, my first band, or even 15. And I played a lot in bands. I mean, I spent a big time of my youth playing in bands. I was very, very influenced by King Crimson and Robert Fripp. Yeah. And I tried, the bands that I played in, I always tried to push it in that direction, sometimes successfully, sometimes not so. But yeah, they were very, very King Crimson influenced at the time.
Yeah, they are very good band. Yeah, I interviewed one member of King Crimson a couple months ago, and the lead singer. Mm-hmm. And I'm seeing them on Saturday, this coming Saturday. So forward to that show.
Yeah, great.
And so they're very good. What kind of music? So you were 16, 17. What kind of music were you, besides King Crimson? What kind of, you knew who, I don't know, Genesis or Led Zeppelin or Pink Floyd were at the time? Or what kind of music were you listening?
I think the first band I fell in love with was Yes.
Yes, yeah, I got
you. I had this triple live album, Yes Songs, and I really loved that album when I was a teenager. and I learned all the Steve Howe songs, and I played them. And I also loved the there's a bass solo on Yes songs from Chris Squire. Well, it's
Yeah.
actually a piece that's built around a bass solo. And I found later in life that that's if you look at Sonar has actually very many similarities with that piece, the music
Yeah.
of Sonar, because it's an odd rhythm. It's based on an ostinato. There's a sound and the atmosphere is very similar actually. But I didn't realize until much later that that's actually the case. But I love that album a lot. And from Yes, I came to King Crimson. And from King Crimson, I read interviews by Robert Fripp where he talked about the Bartók string quartets. So I started listening to those and liked them very much too. So I gradually moved into classical music. I listened to a lot of minimal music, Steve Reich, Terry Riley, and yeah, that was my path.
Got you. I read somewhere that I think either your music or Sonar music had been performed by the KRONOS Quartet, right? Those are very famous.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. No, it wasn't a Sonar piece. It was one of my pieces.
Oh, your piece. Gotcha.
Because I started composing for string quartet eventually myself, and I wrote one piece, and I played that to a friend of mine, and he said, "Oh, that's great, and I'm sure KRONOS would like to play that piece."
Wow.
And he was a music he's a music journalist, Anil Prasad. Maybe you know him.
No, what's his name?
Anil Prasad.
I heard his name. Yeah, he got done a lot of great interviews, right? Yeah.
Yeah, right. He has a fantastic website called Interviews.
Yeah, I would check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, you should. And he told me that he was meeting David Harrington from KRONOS in a few weeks, and that he would play that piece for him. So I gave him a copy, and he played it to David. And David actually wrote me an email, said, "Oh yes, I like that piece very much. Can you send it to me, the score?" Which I did. But then I didn't hear from him for a long time, and then I wrote him back, and then eventually it worked out that we met. We met in San Francisco, and I thought he would probably want to play that piece, but then he said no, he doesn't want to play that piece. He wants me to compose a new piece for them, because they had a program called 50 for the Future, where they have 50 composers writing new pieces for them for special work called 50 for the Future. So I wrote this piece for him for the KRONOS Quartet, and that was a very, very good experience. Yes, working with them.
Oh, you got paid royalties for playing that, right?
Everybody got the same for 50 for the Future. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
No.
It's not. It wasn't that much, but it was a royalty. Yeah. But every composer got the same amount.
Well, it's good that you compose it and they play it, and that's impressive right there.
That's the main thing for me. I mean, I would have done it for free, but if you get something, it's better.
That's right. Yeah, if you get paid a little bit, yeah. Yeah, like for me, right? Music, I don't play any instrument. I don't know how to read music at all. This is fun for me. I'm a computer engineer, and I have nothing to do with music. I just have a big music collection, and then I began listening to music when I was a baby, a real baby. My dad in South America had a lot of music, so. And then around 14, I discovered kind of rock and roll and, Pan Metheny and Jean-Luc Ponty and Tangerine Dream, electronic music. So, and all my radios are free. I do this because I like it, and have the opportunity to interview great musicians like yourself. So it's some stuff you do for money, some stuff you do because you like it.
It's an interesting question, really, and it's not really an easy question, because I earn my money not with music. I'm a math teacher. I teach mathematics, and that's how I earn my income. So that means I can do in music, I can do whatever I want, because I don't depend on any income from music. So I can play the music I want to play. But you know, many of my colleagues who are professional music say that's a bad sign. I mean, it's not a good sign if you work for music and don't take the income you deserve actually as a musician. But I mean, that's just the way it worked out for me, and I don't regret anything. I mean, I wanted to study music. My father at the time said he wouldn't support me if I studied music. He would only support some scientific study or so. So eventually I settled for mathematics because I also loved mathematics a lot. But yeah, and I wonder how my life would have came out if I had studied music, but that didn't happen. And I enjoy the freedom that I have now to do whatever I want to do. I don't have to do anything in music, and I can only do what I really want to do.
That's right. Yeah, I disagree with the other guy's opinion. I mean, you gotta do what you're comfortable with. I mean, like yourself, I have several college degrees and I study in the best university here in the United States, and that give me a good income and they give me the freedom, flexibility to do this stuff, right? To like it, right?
Right.
And to be like an artist, to make it, you need to be very, very good because the majority of the, I don't know, 90% of the people don't make it, right? You need to be kind of
even more, probably more than 90,
95%, right? But with a PhD in mathematics, or for me, a computer scientist, you know, I have plenty of work. I have job for my whole life, so that good money coming in give me the flexibility to see, you know, 2 or 3 shows a year and then travel and that kind of stuff, right? So it's you gotta do at the end what you like, and I in my opinion, I don't care what everybody else thinks or does. I mean, I have certain goals in life, and you gotta do it, you know. So for me,
do what you gotta do.
You gotta do what you like to do, you know. And if you can combine 2 or 3 things, that's great, you know. That's important. How long ago did you join Rare Noise Record, and that how they came about that?
Rare Noise Record came about because we were looking for a new label, and I asked Anil again. A lot of things in my life.
I need to.
Anil.
You need to put me in touch with Anil, so I can.
Yeah. And he recommended that I contact Rare Noise, and so I did, and I spoke with Giacomo, the CEO of Rare Noise, and it was a very nice talk, and he was very into Sonar and he wanted to do it. And at the time, that was the first record with David Thorn. I mean, Sonar had played as a quartet for many years, but then we decided to get a new producer for the next record, and then I asked David Thorn, and he agreed. So we knew that the next record would be with David. And Giacomo was very excited about that because he also knew David Thorn, of course, and he was very keen on working with us and David. So that worked out very well. And we did a second album recently, and we will do an album probably next year as well.
Yeah, David, he's very famous guy and busy. Yeah. Quite sure everybody want to work with him, you know.
Yes, yes, of course. Yeah.
And so before you were doing like self-releases, that kind of stuff with a small budget?
No, not self-release. We had our first record was on Nick Bertsch's label. Nick Bertsch has his own little label called Ronin Rhythm Records, and we did our first album on his label. And the second and the third album were done on Cuneiform in Washington, DC.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Feel free to, and all my questions are kind of general open-ended questions. So whatever it means to you, feel free to elaborate on your, you know, over the years, your musical influences. You started with King Crimson at the time, but you know, it has your taste and your way of playing, and the people that you have worked with, you know, maybe change over time. So feel free to elaborate on the influences in your life as a musician.
Yeah, I think what was important for me was to realize that rhythmically I wanted to do something new. I wasn't happy with the way, you know, most bands play in 4/4 time. It seemed so boring to me, and I thought it was so much more possible in the form of rhythm. So I really I was interested in special rhythms. At the time, I also there was Nick Birch was getting starting to work. That was around 2000, and he also had very interesting. He did very interesting polyrhythmic things. So I was very glad to hear that what Nick was doing. And also other people. So I started to think about my own way to use polyrhythms in music, and I wanted it to be a rock-based music, not so much jazz. I mean, I'm not really a jazz musician, and I've worked with a lot of jazz musicians, and I love the way they play. But for me personally, the music I wanted to make was more rock-based. So my idea was to combine rock music with these polyrhythmic, also very minimalistic polyrhythmic things, and that's how SONAR started. And SONAR was really a conscious attempt to do something original. I mean, we really wanted to. We did a list like of thousands of things we didn't want to do. So we were quite sure about, you know, we don't want to do this, we don't want to do that, we don't want to be like this. And we had our own special tuning, the way we tuned the guitar. So the sound was completely different. The rhythms were new. So it seemed a good basis, a good starting point for a band.
Yeah, well, that's pretty good, the way you put it. And the first thing you learn is strategies in lesson number 1, right? Strategy number 1 is what not to do, right? So you knew that you didn't want to do this and do your own thing, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty good way to put it. What's the meaning of, in general, music to you? Why music and not something else? Why music is so appealing to you that you started early in your life, your family supported, and then you continue with the music? What does it mean to you, be a musician
I
or listen?
I always found that music had a special way of transport me in another realm. You know, I could listen to. I remember when I was a kid, I used to sit at the beach and listen to the seagulls and the waves, and it would just take me somewhere else. And I love the way that sounds can actually put you in a trance or put you in a different world. And I always loved that. And I always had a special connection with music, much more than I mean, I read a lot of books, of course, but it doesn't appeal to me as much as music. Music has such an emotional, powerful, can have an emotional, powerful voice. And that's also always appealed to me. So for me, it was logic that I had to do something with music. It's just the strongest form of expression, I think.
Yeah, same for me. Yeah, I think it maybe takes me places. You know, I can put my headphone and listen to whatever, Pat Metheny or SONAR or jazz rock, and then, you know, concentrate when I'm listening. I forget about the rest of the world. And like you, I began. I told you my dad. I was born in Chile, and I came to the United States to study. And my dad had a huge collection of music. So I began listening to music when I was probably a baby. You know, when they brought me back from the hospital. And then around 14, I discovered kind of rock and roll, and the rest is history. I have, you know, 4 floors of music, and during the pandemic, you know, I was working from home. I say, well, instead of, you know, taking a CD or buying and putting in the background, why don't I create a radio and listen to my own stuff? And that's what I did. I put a website and I created one. Then I put another one, then I put another one, then another electronic music and a jazz rock, doing interviews. Now I have done 97 interviews, about 5,000 listeners all over the world listen to. So I'm very happy, you know, and all free. I would never charge anything. I pay for all the server, no advertising, no social media, nothing. 100%, 24 hours a day, great music. So, and I want to be playing you guys' music. So I end up buying 3 things for Badcamp the other night. So it's very good stuff.
Great. Thank you.
I want to help
You know,
musicians.
it's funny. I was just this morning. I was working on a piece, and I remembered this song. I think I was probably about 9 years old when I heard this. This was the song. I'm sure you know it, "Inagata da Vida" from Iron Butterfly.
Of course, yes, a favorite. That's a
Of
track,
course,
man.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I remembered this song. I didn't hear that song, I don't know, for 40 years or so, but I remembered that the feeling. And I went back to YouTube today and listened to the whole song. And the middle section, with the drum solo and then the organ coming in afterwards, it's phenomenal. And I remember the feeling that I had as a kid, as a 9-year-old kid,
Yeah,
listening to
yeah,
that stuff. I mean, it was so magical at the time, and
yeah.
it still is in a way. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that piece is what, like 20 for 15, 20 minutes long.
yeah,
There's so
17, I think. Yeah, 17 minutes.
yeah,
But I
so
think they played it live like for half an hour or so, but the album version is 17 minutes.
if we switch a little bit to science, because I know you are a
Yep.
scientist, a PhD in mathematics. Um, Whoever figured out how memory works, it will receive the Nobel Prize. That's a very difficult problem. Like, for example, right? You know exactly the first time you were listening to a song, or perhaps your room. And if
Yeah,
you go back when you were 8, 9 years old,
yeah,
remember, my room was like this, my bed was like that, I have a TV
yeah,
in front or whatever, my living
yeah,
room.
yeah,
I bought this record because my dad gave me money, whatever it was.
yeah.
That concept that you can retrieve back
Mhm, mhm.
50 years later, or nobody has figured it out. That
Yeah.
it's a
No,
very
it's incredible. It's incredible.
great. Somebody smart enough to. I'm not, but somebody smart enough to figure out the answer. It's always have been
Yeah.
intrigued
No,
with
I think the connection, the memory you have is connected with the emotions you have. So if you have strong emotions, you have more vivid memories of that time. I mean, you could probably forget things where you weren't so emotional
yeah, yeah,
much easier than the things that where you had an emotional reaction. And if you listen to a piece of music that really affects you, your emotional
yeah,
reaction is very strong. So I
yeah,
think that's the reason you probably remember exactly where you were at the time.
yeah. I have read a lot of that kind of stuff, and it's like a piece of paper, and then their emotion attached to that chemical compound, and they store like a chemical compound, and that's in a way where you retrieve, right? As opposed to you have a bad day at work or with your wife or whatever, and no, and there's no emotion, you forget about the stuff. But but nobody have explained that in a scientific paper
Right.
how stuff really work. It's a lot of
Yeah.
research. What kind of
Right.
mathematics are you teaching? What interest?
Well, it's just it's high school level. Like I have my students are 15 to 20.
I got you.
So
Right.
it's just, basic algebra and calculus and
Good.
probability, vector geometry. But it's fun. I like to teach.
Good for you, man. Yeah, it's great. It's great, man. You guys formed the quartet in 2010, right? Is
210.
that
Yes,
correct?
that's right.
And was it difficult? I suppose the first year or two, making a name of yourself, and then start recording song, and everybody in the same page.
Actually, it was very, very positive experience in every way, really, because I had met the other guitarist in Sonar, Bernhard. He's the other guitarist. I'd met him earlier, and
Yeah,
we wanted to do something together, but I wasn't sure quite what. I didn't want to just do a band and just start playing music. I wanted to have a clear idea what we wanted to do.
yeah,
So for a few years, I kept thinking, what could we do? Well, what's the best format? And then I by accident I thought about this tuning that I had, the tritone tuning, where I tuned the guitars in tritone intervals, which is very uncommon for a guitar and also very difficult to play. And then I thought, wow, that would be quite a bold step if we just say, let's just use that tuning. And that would be a real challenge, I thought. And so I told Barnett, and he said, "Yeah, I'm with you." And then we did that. We started playing in this tuning, and we saw that it would work. So we looked for a bass player and a drummer. And I knew a bass player from bands I had played before, and he knew a drummer. So the four of us met, and it was perfect. From the very first second, we knew we don't have to, try other people or so. This is perfect. These guys are the right guys for the band. And we rehearsed maybe twice a month or so for a while. And we had about 1.5 hours of music. Well, not quite, but almost. And so we did a few concerts, and the reaction was very good. So actually, it was a super experience in every way.
Yeah, man. Good for you. Oh, I forgot to ask in the beginning, how's the COVID situation in Switzerland now? Is under control?
It's getting worse again. It was sort of under control like in May or so, but now they're getting more cases, and it's starting to spiral out of control again. It's the hospitals are full, and the children at school are getting sick again. It's not good. It's not good at all.
So the education system, or most of the things are now going online, pretty much? Or?
No. They went online last June 2020. They went online and stayed online for a while, but now it's not online anymore. They don't want to do that. We had to wear masks at school up till last June, and then they said it's mandatory. But then they changed that policy. So I still wear a mask at school, but not all of the students do it automatically. I have to ask them. And usually if I ask them politely, they do it. But there are a lot of kids that would rather have no mask at all.
But it isn't mandatory to get vaccinated in your country, no? Right.
Not mandatory, no. There's still people.
Encourage.
Pardon?
They encourage for people.
They encourage, yes. Yeah, of course. Yes, they encourage, but it's not mandatory.
Yeah.
It's mandatory now. I think if you want to go to a restaurant, you have to show that you're vaccinated. So there's certain places you can only go if you have a certificate.
Yeah, all the music venues opened up last week here in the United States. So I saw a band last week, one last night. I'm going to another show tomorrow, and you need to show proof of the CEC card that you were vaccinated, and be attached with your picture so people will fake it. And then during the gig, you need to wear a mask. So that's all the rules. If you want to see good music, no problem. But those are the rules.
Wear a mask, yeah.
Well, some people don't believe in the vaccine, and they will not be able to see a show. Other people like myself believe in the vaccine, and then if I want to see a show, those are the rules. So like they say here in the United States, with freedom comes responsibility. So
yes, of course.
For all of us to get better, we need to encourage the people that are not vaccinated to get vaccinated and move forward. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That stuff has been going on for 2 years now. I want to bring your attention to some of the tracks that I listened to last night, and feel free to elaborate. What can you tell me? If you remember, you remember. If not, it's okay. Part 44, how the composition came together. I think from the album Vortex, which is a very good album, actually.
Thank you. Let me just close the window. It's a little bit loud.
No problem.
Okay, that's better.
Yeah,
part 44 was a piece that started. There's a composer in Bern called Don Lee. I don't know if you've heard of him.
No.
He's a Swiss composer, and we worked with him. We had a concert with him where he played, where he composed a piece, and the piece was an hour. It went on for exactly an hour, and we played the SONAR 4 musicians, and Don Lee played the clarinet. And I really liked his piece, and I took the piece and changed a few things in the piece, and then made a version for SONAR. That was part 44. So it's actually Don Lee's piece rearranged for SONAR. And then David Thorne, of course, played on top of that. But the piece was originally thought of as a quartet piece.
Gotcha. Well, it's a very good piece. Another one from the album Transportation Volume 2. It's a difficult name for me to pronounce, but Triskaidekaphilia or something like that.
Yeah. Right.
What kind of word is that?
It means the love of 13.
I got you.
Triskaideka is Greek for 13.
Oh,
And philia means you love. You love 13. And the piece, of course, is in 13. So that's why it's called.
That's the reason. Yeah, that's a very good piece. Though it's a very.
Yeah, thanks. That was the idea, of course, of the piece was. I mean, we have a lot of pieces which, I mean, I don't think we have one single 4/4 piece, or maybe certain parts are in 4/4, but not really much. I try to avoid 4/4 because not because it's a bad rhythm, it's because you hear it everywhere. 99% of the music that you hear is 4/4, so it bores me a little bit, and so I try to find new rhythms. So most of our music is either in 9 or 11 or 13 or 15 or other rhythms, compound rhythms. And I think there's one piece in 63. So we try to be inventive with rhythmic stuff. So triskaidekaphilia is actually it's in 39 because we are playing in 13, but then there's also a rhythmic layer which is in 3. And if you play in 3, then you have to play it 13 times until you get to the same point as the part that's playing in 13. So it's a polyrhythm. It's 13 against 3.
That's
so
right.
Actually, it's in 39.
You're a mathematician, so it's very easy to do the math.
Yeah, man, that's simple math. Very simple.
Oh, of course, I'm joking. And the other track that I really like was Skeleton Groove from the album Skeleton Groove. That's an album, I think, from 2012, if I remember correctly. It's a very good album, actually.
That's an EP, yeah. That wasn't really a full album.
Yeah.
It's we recorded our first album, and then we had some pieces left, and we thought we should record those pieces as well. And so it was about a year after the first album we did this EP, right? And Skeleton Groove was a little bit special because it's actually a piece that wasn't played live the way you hear it. Most pieces in SONAR are really they are played live. We play live in the studio. There's no overdubs or no additional instruments or so. But the Skeleton Groove was like more of a I did some stuff at home, you know. I did some computer work on that, and so that was a little bit different in that sense.
Gotcha. Man, in Switzerland, well, they're spoken so many. How many languages speak? You speak French and German and English, or? We
have 4 official languages in Switzerland. There's the German part, the French part, the Italian part, and then Rätoromanisch. I don't even know what that is in English. That's a very small minority, but it's also an official language of Switzerland. And yeah, I mean, most people speak. I mean, today it's like everybody speaks English and the language where you live in. So most people that I know speak German and English.
Yeah, good. Like Roger Federer, I think he speaks the 3 or 4 languages as well. You know? So yeah. It's amazing. Here in the United States, people don't, you know.
Yeah.
Assume that the whole world works in English.
The world is only English, yeah. Yeah, a lot of Americans, they come to Switzerland, they just speak English. They wouldn't even get the idea that you couldn't speak English here.
Good. And now, since you work in education, most of the young kids, when they are, you know, going to high school and they finish high school when they're 18, is it possible to make a good living if you don't go to university or college, or kind of the only way to make it will be to go to college?
No, I wouldn't say it's the only way. I mean, it's the way that that gives you the best possible guarantee that you will get a good job. Right. If you go to the university. But of course, you don't have to. You can, if you're inventive and you're ambitious, and you can have a lot of success without a higher education. It's totally possible here.
But most of the kids try to go to university for that reason, right? To kind of improve the chances, right? In probabilistic terms, right? You will get a well-paying job, and
it increases the chances substantially.
Yeah. Wow, that's pretty good. Yeah. Well, so nowadays, when you're not touring with Sonar, now with the pandemic, what kind of music do you listen at home now?
What do I listen? Well, because I'm a musician and because I compose a lot, I usually listen to my own stuff. I don't really listen to that much other
Really?
things. Yeah, not much. Well, of course, I'm interested in what other people do and what my friends are doing. So I will listen to what they do, and if I get a recommendation, I will also listen to that. But I don't spend like a lot of time listening to music. It's more trying to find my own music to compose something. And actually, it's not. I mean, I want to have my own ideas. I don't, if I listen to other people, I get ideas from other people, which sometimes I don't really want. I don't want to copy anybody else or get my ideas from somebody else. I want to have my own ideas. So that's why I usually, I mean, I listen to a lot of music, my own music. If I compose something, I usually make a version, then I will listen to that a lot and try to improve on it. And so I spend a lot of time listening to music, but mainly my own.
Yeah, you don't want to get influenced for other people, right? Otherwise, it's very easy to, oh, I like this, I like that, I want to incorporate that, and then all of a sudden it's almost the same.
Yeah,
yeah. I don't play any instrument, so I'm not a musician, so I listen to all the stuff,
Yeah, sure.
all the great music all over the world.
You guys, there's a fantastic amount of good music around. That's
oh yeah,
no question about that.
And I have been discovering, and I have interviewed a lot of people from Norway. It's unbelievable the amount of musicians that are coming out of Norway. I have no idea why. I couldn't find. Well, of course, there are great musicians in Denmark, in Finland, but I don't know. Somehow, I have done, I think, 10 interviews from people from Norway. It's unbelievable the amount of music there. They have a couple of very good school in jazz and rock, and there's a lot of great music.
No, I completely agree. There's probably no country in the world that's in relation to the population has so many good musicians.
Right?
So,
yeah. And I keep on asking the musician, and they told me, yeah, what happened, whatever, music in Norway is kind of part of the culture, is important. So they develop a jazz, they develop a rock program. Kids at an early age can select science or go to the equivalent of a high school that is geared toward music or arts, and yeah, that can be a very good reason why they're, they have kids that when they're 14, 15 can figure out, well, I really like music. I'm not going to be a scientist. I don't like math, but there's a possibility for me. And yeah, it's unbelievable the amount of great musicians.
Yes.
So you have toured in Europe and the United States and in Japan. If any particular concert, that is stuck in your mind, that you will never forget, that the music was great, everything worked, the light, the equipment arrived on time, everything. Right. You say, man, I can die tonight. Everything, I cannot play any better than that.
Yeah, there are quite a few concerts which are very high in my memory and which where there's a very positive experience. Manchester, we played in Manchester once. That was fantastic. Tokyo was fantastic.
Wow.
There's a jazz club in Liechtenstein. It's a small country in the border between Switzerland and Austria.
Yeah.
We played there a few times, and the last time we played there was also phenomenal. It was really such a great concert. Yeah, there's a lot of great memories. Sonar is a great live band.
Yeah, that's what my next question.
The records are okay, but you really feel the band if you see them live, because it's the rhythm section is so powerful in Sonar. You probably you can guess it if you listen to the records, but if you want to really feel the full force, you have to see them live.
I got you. Any recording or of those live performances?
There is a lot. There are 2 live albums on Bandcamp, I think.
Need to check it out.
One of them was an early, I think 2012.
Yeah.
The second one was with David Thorn from 2018, I think. Those are all, yeah.
I need to lose this stuff. Do you miss, touring and playing live, right? That's what you guys excel more than the studio work. Some people are the other way around. Some people, we don't like to tour that much. We are family. We are in the 30s. 20 gigs a year is fine.
Yeah.
Other people, no. We want to go on the road. We want to do whatever gigs or whatever they are.
Yeah, personally, I'm not too keen on touring. I mean, touring can be, for me, touring a week or two is fine. But if it's longer than that, it gets so tiresome, and it's not really what I would personally want, to go on long tours. I enjoy playing short tours or concerts, yes, but long tours could be really hard.
Gotcha. So what are the plans for the near future for you, Stephan, and for the band? It's any gigs that are coming up? Any new album that you guys are working?
Yeah. Not so much gigs. I mean, there's nothing at the moment that's planned. What we have planned is that we were recording a new album with David Thorn next August. So August in a year, we will be recording a next album, and I'm looking forward to writing music for that album. I'm going to start soon with compositions for that album.
Yeah,
that's something I really like. I want to do. I'm looking forward to do. Then I have a lot, some other projects going on with other people. One band project which I'm working on, and there's going to be a new album coming out soon on Rare Noise with Jan-Peter Schwalm. You know him he's a synthesizer player from Germany.
Yeah.
He played with Brian Eno.
Of course, yeah. I know. Yeah, I know. He's very good.
That's a record that, yes, it's a very interesting musician, and we wrote a lot of pieces and recorded them, and also we asked a guitarist from Norway. I'm sure you know Eivind Arseth.
Of course, I interviewed him as well.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, he's one of my favorite musicians.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
Yeah. And he plays
Nils
on that
Peter
album.
Moldbeer also is an amazing guy.
Yeah.
So many people out of Norway. It's unbelievable. It cannot be a mistake, right? The probabilities, coming from there to be a great musician. It's not an accident, right? So
no.
It's a very good. And the last question that I have, feel free to mention your website and the Bandcamp site where our listener can buy your music. And
right. I think my Bandcamp site is a good site if you want to hear my music. It's my name, and then it's just at Bandcamp. If you type in my name, you'll find it. My website, I must admit, I'm not too. I haven't updated it that much. It's kind of just sitting there. It's not really doing much. So Bandcamp is the better place to go if you want to
go to Bandcamp and put your name on it, as well as SONAR. And I'm going to be when I upload the interview, I'm going to be posting the name of the website, so people that listen to the music and want to listen to the interview can buy your music, and that way you can benefit a little bit from that. Well, it was very nice talking to you, Stephan. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Claudio.
Good afternoon for you. Now I need to get ready and go to work.
Yeah, for you it's early in the morning, isn't it?
Yeah, it was 7. Right now it's 7:43. Yeah, I wake up early. I'm so used to I don't put an alarm. My body knows 6 o'clock.
Knows exactly. Yeah.
So time to get up. And so it was very nice talking to you. I will send you a different email with the recording and ask you some questions, because I'm interested in getting physical CDs, not just the one that I bought from Bandcamp. So we can coordinate. Thank you very much. Have a great day. And it was very nice talking to you. I hope to see you live one day, man. Switzerland, maybe.
So, okay.
Take it easy. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.